Thought I'd seen it all before. A world of trouble knocking at my door. But this ain't like nothing that I recall.
Welcome to In Crisis, Travel Retail Voices, our podcast series in which we speak to industry executives all around the world to see how they and their businesses are coping with the COVID-19 crisis. I'm Martin Moody. Today we talk to Gary Maxwell, surely one of the most popular and respected salesmen in travel retail. Now, for the past 18 years, Gary has been Sales and Purchasing Director at Premier Portfolio, the specialist UK travel retail business owned by Kevin Walsh and Andrew Webster, one of the quiet success stories of the industry. Now Gary is going out on his own, having created a new company called GMAX Travel Retail. Now, launching a new business in the midst of a global pandemic doesn't sound like good timing, but anyone who knows Gary Maxwell knows that he's not going to let something like a health crisis stop him. He may be in lockdown in Southampton, but he's just raring to go, as he told me during a phone call over the weekend.
Gary, tell us what you're doing now. We've read the news from Premier Portfolio that you're moving on, you're setting up your own business. Tell us exactly what's happening, but tell us about life in lockdown as well. Tell us where you are now.
I'm at my home in Southampton. Been here for quite a while now. I'm used to working at home. I used to probably work at home two, maybe even 3 days a week when I wasn't travelling. I have one of my three children here. He's 23. I think he's extremely stir crazy. But as soon as golf opened, we haven't seen him for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
He's played about seven days in a row, I think, so far. So that it's strange. You know, it's tough not seeing the grandchildren. I think my wife really suffers with that because she used to look after them weekly as well. But work's been busy. Lots of things to do. Still working for Premier until June the 30th. And then I will be completely set up on myself. I've been working a lot behind the scenes to do that. And had a lot of great opportunities, I think. It's a tough marketplace.
Well, yes, it is. But in some ways, starting a business now gives you time to assess the landscape, assess what the landscape is going to look like, and then do your prep now. Yeah. Really hit the ground running, hopefully to coincide with some kind of upturn.
Correct. I mean, I think I do see, I'm a very positive person. I see a lot of opportunities. Starting my own business, most people in this business have said I should have done that 20 years ago. And, you know, I looked at it many times and never quite did it. So sometimes you need to be pushed into something. And I'm really looking forward to the challenge. My background in this industry is extensive. On the buying side, on the selling side, I've been sourcing in Asia for many, many years as well, direct with factories. And products are offered to me constantly. They have been for the last 20 years. So and since the announcement, brands have contacted me. So it's quite exciting to try and create what I think I already have done is a nice, strong portfolio focusing on certain areas with them.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Just remind me, when did you join Premier Portfolio?
I joined in February 2002. Kevin and myself had worked together at Ocean Trading. Yeah. And then Kevin and Andrew Webster were at Ronson, and they invited me to come and join them when I was in between changing jobs. And the three of us worked together for a while until their redundancy, which made them create Premier Portfolio. When we kind of spoke to each other, and when we agreed it was almost the company had grown enough for me to join, then I rejoined to work with them. So 18 years, long time. We never expected this to happen, obviously. We thought it would probably be we'd work all the way through. However, things happen. The good thing about it, I'll still be working with them in the future anyway. So they will tone down the business and concentrate on what they're good at, using their tooling and the logo side of the business, and possibly one other product area which they do well within cosmetics, but I will also link up with them with that as well.
Tell us the new company. What's the name, Gary, and when are you up and running?
I'm officially up and running July 1st. The name is GMAX Travel Retail. GMAX was always my code name for everything in computers and everything like that. So it seemed the obvious name to go with. And I must admit, the comments I've had on it, everyone seemed to love it.
Yeah, well, you're a natural-born salesman, one of the best in the business, one of the best guys in the business by common acclaim, including mine, Gary. Are you going to specialize in the Inflight market, or are you looking at the whole travel retail sector?
No, I think the Inflight market is tough and been getting tough for many years. There needs to be some changes in that area. On the supplying side, it's very difficult. And really, you can look at that on the Premier side of the business, is that they're focusing on the areas which are less volatile. You can bring a fantastic product to market, but it's tough. It's tough to bring a new gadgety idea to market. Huge risk, seller return, limited listing periods, advertising. You've really got to sometimes take a punt with it, and that can be difficult, and it's high risk. If you're sourcing in Asia, you're paying usually up front to place the order to delivery, and by the time you've shipped it, delivered it, got a listing in an airline, you can not be being paid for maybe 1 year or something like that. So especially for a new startup like myself, that's difficult. So I've tried to go more down the agency route. So I will look at that. I have the contacts, and in effect, I will deal with that route through different brands I'm working with.
All right.
And
you'll be talking about airport shops, downtown shops, etc. The whole
cruise ships, ferries, everything. So I'm already enlisting with the brands I'm working with. I'm enlisting display companies to work with them to create point of sale for shops. I mean, I used to do that myself in my Stena days and was involved in that in a lot of ways. So I have quite an input and try and help them even design some of those ideas. I don't want to focus purely on airlines. There is still a lot of scope where you can still do very well on airlines with the right products. But the ground shop business space is always a premium. But if you have the right product, you can get some good opportunities. And my contact area is great, and hopefully we can get some chances there.
All right. Well, let's talk about the right product, the portfolio that you put together. Briefly summarize that for me.
Well, initially, obviously, I will continue to do all the logo side of the product for Premier, which will be all the fun planes and all the scale models. They still own around about $1 million worth of tooling out in Asia. So I will be their complete sales guy for that area. They are also continuing with the Transformative cosmetic brand, which is been extremely successful for Premier. And in the last year or so, I've broken it into the Middle East, into North and South America, and also into Asia. So it's not always easy getting a fairly unknown brand into this very competitive P&C market with all the Asian brands and all the French brands. But wherever we put it, it sells fantastically. So I will continue to do that for them.
All right.
So based on that, I've kind of tried to put a bit of a beauty business together. I had a background working with ocean trading. I worked directly with Elizabeth Arden. So I've also put in together a new funky product called From Beauty Boulevard, which they were actually on Dragon's Den a few years back. And quite interestingly, they had one venture into travel retail last year with Jet2, and the sales are fantastic, of a makeup eyeshadow set. And I'd already brought it to Premier Portfolio to look at continuing with it. And obviously in the current situation, that will immediately come under my hat now. So I'm very excited with that. I've already shown a lot of companies and they're already very interested. I'm continuing with another brand that we've just recently listed on Emirates, which is a natural product called Eye Slices. So I'm trying to do products that maybe have something a little bit different. I like to innovate where I can. And so this kind of beauty area will continue on that side of it. And then the other area I've set up is going to be extremely competitive in the future, which is the PPE area. Again, I felt you need a difference here, so I've tried to do something that is different to what's on offer. I probably get 25 emails a day from China offering me some form of PPE. Yeah. Most of it uncertified, unregistered, and I've luckily linked up with 3 companies who all have something a little bit different. The hand sanitizers are all alcohol-free, and you know, there's a lot of talk going around, you need 65% or 70% alcohol into hand sanitizer. It's not true. You can have formulas now which will do better than that. They don't irritate the skin. They can cause dermatitis if you wash your hands too much. I was talking to a good colleague of mine who recently left duty free, who said I'm struggling because my hands are bleeding where I'm washing them so much and I'm using so much hand sanitizer. So this is kind to the skin. It's vegan. With the non-alcohol, it's great for some of the Muslim countries. It's also non-flammable, so it's better for shipping as well. And it's quite interesting. So I'm doing a twin pack under a brand called Nil Aqua. They supply, it's a waterless brand, and we were doing a body wash and a hand sanitizer, and they supply all to the NHS in huge volume at the moment.
Okay.
I've linked up with an Irish company, very exciting, called PPE Solutions, who have created small kits. One will be for Inflight, one will be for retail, and one will be for cruise ships. And they will be the kit with the Type 2R masks, also including moisture wipes, even a temperature strip, and also a small hand sanitizer in there as well. On the other area, there's three different areas. We've always done a premier brand called The Eye, which is a mosquito repellent brand, which is what they're renowned for. We've been supplying bands for many years with great success. It really is a real big seller. We've recently introduced creams, which have gone on board. We've just got a listing with Emirates. But they also do the hand sanitizer, again, alcohol-free. And they had some exciting news a couple of weeks ago. There's an ingredient in there called citropol. And citropol has been identified by the government as an ingredient to help against the fight with COVID. So I don't think there's any full proof as yet, but they are talking about issuing it to the armed forces. And the Eye are actually one of the 5 registers of that ingredient.
Okay.
So again, trying to do everything with a slightly different angle to it all the time.
All right. And then outside PPE, you've got some other new additions as well?
Well, really, that's basically it. So the two to three beauty brands,
okay,
lanes, and the PPE is what I'm looking at the moment. I am in discussion on a few other areas, but that's where we are at the moment. I want to really kind of focus in.
Yep.
The PPE is very hot at the moment and will be for a long time. It will be an ongoing product in travel retail forever.
I think so. I think the focus on personal care, well-being and general health and safety is going to be pivotal to all of us, Gary, as travellers, but also as retailers and suppliers.
I mean, one thing out of this, everyone will wash their hands more for the rest of their life.
That's right.
Which is not a bad thing.
No, exactly. Well, Gary, let's just close with a couple of more personal questions. So you've been on the road. You're a real road warrior like me, traveling all over the world at non-stop pace the last few years. Suddenly you're in lockdown. How's the cabin fever developing?
It is a bit crazy. Even before all this, if I was home for 3 or 4, for say 2 weeks or something, I felt like I should have been somewhere. And my wife definitely felt like I should have been somewhere. In this business, I've been lucky enough to visit, I think there's 103 countries. There's a great app which tells you where you've been. And I did it once, and it told me I've covered more of Latin America than I have of Europe, which I thought was quite interesting. I love getting out there and seeing people. That's how we've always done it. As a business, wherever I've worked and whatever I've done, I've felt that meeting people, especially internationally, is a big, important thing. And I miss it, and I'm looking forward to it coming back in some way. I think it will take time. It's nice that we are able to use this kind of feature such as Zoom so we can still talk and keep in contact with everyone. Yeah. And that's helpful, but it's not quite the same still as well. It's there's pluses and minuses. So I look forward to seeing everyone and having a drink with them someday as well. Indeed.
Well, I look forward to that with you, Gary. Just to close then, what about your beloved Southampton? Everyone knows you as a passionate fan of your football team, the Saints as they know. The Saints haven't been marching on much this year like every other football team because the season's stopped. But you're looking forward to getting to see them again?
Yeah, I am, definitely. That's been very strange, really. The positives is we haven't let a goal in for about 8 weeks. But no, it's... you don't realise the effect it had on so many people around you as well that you see who miss going every Saturday to go and see them. And, how it comes back, I don't know. But everyone's looking forward to it. I think they say years ago that you should wake up and you support where you're born. That's the kind of ideal way of what you do. And I wish I was born in Barcelona, but I wasn't.
well, Southampton it will be, Gary. Listen, we wish you really well with the new
Thank
company.
you.
There will be no stopping you, I know, once things get back.
I'm excited.
Well, we wish you really well on it, Gary. Stay well, stay safe, and we'll see you soon in human form rather than virtual.
Yeah, thanks very much, Martin.
And I swear one day we're gonna put this out behind us, and come what may, we will survive. I think it's safe to say that better times are gonna find us. Hope it won't be long till this trouble is gone.